Welcome back to Bible and Blues, and happy Sunday night. So we went to church this morning. Had a interesting series that we're in the middle of. Just talking about is there really a conflict between science and God and faith? And it's a very interesting subject because it's a debate that's been raging on for literally thousands of years. And I don't know how you feel right now. Right now, I'm tired. It hasn't been a long weekend, but I had some ideas. I tried some stuff out. I tried to make a homemade green screen. Didn't work. Did something wrong. Maybe it's the program I'm using. I don't know. So I'm thinking about ordering one because I think it'd be kind of cool to have something other than my kitchen cabinets to for you guys to look at. Okay. Some sort of images, something back there better than that. I think it'd be cool around holidays to put something up there for you guys to look at. So that's kind of future plans, and I think that's something I can get going here in the next month or so. But tonight we are going to talk about this show Taboo. I got through the second episode, actually, Friday night, but Friday night was Emerald City night, so we reviewed Emerald City, and then Saturday I picked up my classical guitar and I did a video on that instead of doing Taboo. And tonight I was thinking about doing something else entirely, but let's get Taboo taken care of, right? So okay, episode 2 of I'm trying to take notes now. Can you believe it? Episode 2 opens with we're at the EIC, not the Earned Income Credit. It is the East India Company, and the leader is Sir Stuart Strange. I got to research to see if that's an actual name from this, or if it's like they're using that instead of like they used unobtainium, in So I don't know. Sir Stuart Strange though is the character, and he's threatening one of his guys, saying, you got to take care of this guy, take care of this Delaney guy. It's quite the tyrant. Delaney went out. James Delaney when next scene we see Delaney going out to he goes out to the 10-mile marker outside of London, and that's where he buried the bag when he first came ashore before his dad's funeral, and he recovers the bag. Okay, we still don't know what's in it at this point in time, so that's cool. He gets the bag back. We don't know what's in it. He goes back home, and Bryce he's asking Bryce some weird questions. Where did Dad get his food from? He's got questions because he knows something's wrong. Because remember in the first episode, he had that doctor do a test of the stomach contents that verified that it was poison, and so he's aware of the poison. He wants to know where the food came from. And I was like, well, I don't know. He was cheap. He didn't let me really just get anything very good. And so where'd you get it from? Well, the guy's dead now. And where's his wife? His wife is, taken off. We don't know where she's at. Very suspicious circumstances, right? So, anyway, so it turns out, and then he had carried up a strong box of some kind from with Bryce up to the. I gotta get my IMDb open too. Up to the room where he seems to spend most of his time is where the office is, where all the papers are at. He spends an awful lot of time in there. As you can imagine, as a business owner, you would probably spend a lot of time on your papers and trying to figure out, puzzle out what's going on. So, but in the bag, we find out is diamonds, raw diamonds from Africa, obviously, where he spent all of his time. Sorry, his name is Brace. I keep calling him Bryce. He's not Bryce, it's Brace. He goes to an auction where and they're selling boats at this auction. They have a unique way of doing an auction. I thought it was kind of neat actually. They had a candle, and the top inch of it was painted red, and the auction was it would go until that top inch is gone, and then snuff it out. Auction's over. Doesn't matter where we're at. That's it. So I thought it was kind of unique. I've been to a few auctions in my life. It's the first time I've seen that kind of thing. So he ends up buying a boat there. It was kind of neat. The bidding went up to 700 pounds, and all of a sudden he speaks up and says 800 pounds, which is right at the last second, just before the guy snuffs out the candle. And so he gets up for 800 pounds. He could have done 720 just before he snuffed it out, but he did 800. And there's another guy from the East India Trading Company. One of the guys, the guy who did the flowery storytelling speech about James Delaney and his childhood. So he was there. So so they know he bought it, and he calls himself the Delaney Nootka Trading Company. Okay, so Sir Stuart has a habit when he's upset. He taps the head of his cane or taps his cane on things. And so anytime you see him doing that, he's hot. He's hot under the collar. He's mad. So he's trying to figure out where's this guy getting his money from? How does he have the money? Why is he doing this? Why didn't he just sell Nootka sound? I mean, he could have gotten the money, could have gotten away scot-free and been free and clear. Then do whatever the heck he wanted to, right? No, why is he doing this? Well, he thinks that the Americans have got a hold of him, got him, knew about the land and told him and have informed him of all these things. I'm not going to knock that out. I'm not going to dispute that at this point in time. It's possible that he got all that information. He's kind of acting like he has lots more information than what a guy really should. Anyway, so he thinks the Americans got to him and bought him, and he's a bought and paid for guy. So, okay. So next scene we see, he goes out. He goes to find his horse, but all he finds is the bridle and a note with the name Atticus across on it in very good writing, by the way. So apparently he knows who Atticus is. He goes fights Atticus. Atticus. So Atticus comes out. He's all bloody and he's carrying a knife. Like it looks like he's probably butchering food, but it looks really ominous. So they talk for a little bit. It turns out he's writing a book. Which is, okay, most people back then couldn't write or read, so give him that. But apparently his father owed 20 pounds to Atticus, and Atticus wants to try to get that. Well, they talk, and of course, they end up. He buys Atticus's services because Atticus knows who came to try to kill his father. Who came and who's looking to kill somebody, and he knows who came, sat down at that very table, and tried to get Atticus to kill his dad. And apparently Atticus knew his dad and refused. I mean, that's the guy who owes 20 pounds. So, so James makes a deal with him. I'll pay you 15 pounds, and all you have to do is you be my eyes and ears on this situation. So next scene we meet the Prince Regent, King George. I'm sure I'm probably using that whole scenario wrong because but it was King George, I believe. King George was not a healthy man. They did not make him look healthy in this scene. And he's kind of flighty. He's kind of off in his own little world. At the same time, he is still the king, and he's really mad about the Americans. And he's mad that the East India Company, he's mad at them, and he's mad at them. I would assume it's because they're huge, and they've taken a big hunk of his own pie. So that's the that was the long and short of the scene. Okay, so next thing we see our anti-hero James steps out, and he's confronted by this young girl, about 13 years old. She's biracial, and just so right up here, I'm going to put in a little card saying, "Hey, what is mulatto a bad word?" Because I actually called her mulatto, but I mean they said a lot of things in this time frame that we wouldn't say today. I mean, they dropped the N word. There's one guy that calls James the N word because he spent so much time in Africa. He figures he's so he really doesn't like James. So that's his brother-in-law. So they say a lot of bad words. So anyway, look right up here. There should be something right up there to click a link over to. Is mulatto a bad word? It's a curiosity I had from something. So moving on. She knows about somebody, a silver-toothed guy that wanted to kill him. She's willing to take him there. I'm not too sure why she wanted to. I think she was mad and everything about something else. But she was there when the guy showed up at the brothel, which is where she lives, and she's a virgin, biracial girl in a brothel. That's like, why wouldn't that would actually be a really big deal at a brothel. So anyway, so she agrees to take him there to where the silver-toothed guy is, and apparently he has a boat out of the water. So he goes out and he gets on the boat, and this is kind of funny part, only because he gets on the boat, sneaks onto it, swims up to it, sneaks onto it, being quiet. Then he moves his grate to get down into the hold, okay? And it's a heavy metal grate, and it's just, makes all this racket to get on there. If you were on the boat and you sound asleep, you would wake up from a dead sleep going, what the crud is that, right? So, I don't know. So then he sneaks, then he gets down to the hold, and he's acting all sneaky again. I mean, really? At this point in time, there's anybody on board, they got you. But whatever. It was in the script, right? So, yeah. Anyway, he starts the boat on fire. Takes a little container, and I think there's some hashish in it. Is what we hear later on. No big deal. And swims back over to the rowboat, and the girl is gone. Okay, whatever. So then the next morning he gets there, and he's digging through the papers, and he asks. Brace comes up, and Brace recognizes the smell because he's been swimming in the water there, and that water really isn't all that clean. So he's been swimming in the water there, and so he recognizes that as because his dad was doing that, and then setting things on fire just before he died. So it was like crazy Delaney's, So he asked Brace about he's trying to find the Nootka Sound Treaty. Now he needs this thing to prove that it was purchased land, and it wasn't he didn't take it by conquest. Because if he took it by conquest as a member of the realm, he belongs. Anything you take by conquest belongs now to the king. So in order to prove ownership, he has to find that for clear ownership, and he knows that's going to be one of the things that they're going to try to do to take this away from him. He starts talking in a strange language, and we see him do this a couple times. I don't recognize it. Not a big deal. I would assume that it's probably something he picked up, in Africa. And then he sees visions of this lady in black. She's in a black dress, and her face is all messed up and cracked, and this is a death mask kind of look. So anyway, tears the desk apart that he's looking for this for the treaty in, and doesn't find it. But he does find a playbill for production, and on it is circled one of the actresses, and Lorna Bowe is circled. So it's kind of weird. So then he goes to next scene. He goes to the brothel, and it turns out it's you know the woman who the madam was who was at his dad's old offices and using them as a brothel that he kicked out. He gave 2 hours to leave. Turns out she was in the was there. She is actually the biracial girl's mother, and that's why she's not getting rented out. He figures this out, and the girl and the madam starts to try to distract him with sex, and kudos to him. He fends the idea off and says, I'm more interested in just, we can be friends here if you want to. All right, we don't have to be enemies. So he goes and claims his boat that he bought on auction. And while he's there, he finds shackles as a slave boat, and it wasn't supposed to be a slave boat, but he's a smart guy of the world. He's figured it out. He pulls the shackles out. FYI, they were forged in London, so he knows this ship that he supposedly was a Spaniard ship that he bought. He knows it was it had gotten refitted for slaving by England. So hence it's going to be the East India Trading Company's boat in the past. So it has all these shackles in it, and he's got a strange attitude. I mean, I believe he was a slaver, and he feels really. I mean, he has a huge amount of guilt over it. And he should. It was a horrible trade. So there's a whole lot of penance issue there, I think, and that language comes out again. He starts talking that language again. Anyway, next scene he's in a bar getting drunk. So that's just a brief moment. These things are horrible for you. Never drink them. All right. St. Bartholomew's Hospital. He goes to St. Bartholomew's Hospital. He's trying to find a particular guy. He goes and finds him, and he uses a code about an injury to his shoulder that is supposed to let the guy know that he's at least has knowledge of a group and he's safe. And what it is the guy is actually he's an American, and he's a spy for the Americans. So he's using him to try to get an audience with the president. His ultimate goal. He wants to get an audience with the president. So he knows a little bit of this stuff, and he knows some of the stuff going on. What else? So it's actually pretty cool. He goes, the reading of his will was a cool scene. You can imagine the reading of his father's will. Before they go out for the reading, he's sitting in his lawyer's office, and he looks at the guy and says, "Listen, I know who you are. I know that for 40 years you were my father's lawyer, and pretty much says the entire time you were double crossing him. You were on the take for for the EIC." And the guys, the old guys, the lawyer's like, when you left, it was just another trading company, but now it's like bigger than everything. There's more ships and more men than pretty much the known world. They have more of everything, and this is why the King George kids doesn't like them too. So he says, if you don't work for them, you don't do anything. So the reading of the will, of course, everybody knew there wasn't going to be anything for his sister Zilpha, and her husband, of course, is just livid, of course, and it's all going to James, including the land, the house, pretty much everything goes to James. And the husband, he's just pissed. He's mad. He gets up and he said, pretty much, he says he'll, threatens him, says you're going to rue the day, kind of thing. And then James does a pretty cool thing. He doesn't have to do this, but he pays his father's debts. There's a big crowd of people there that are really mad because his father had owed them money for various things, for work, for food, for this, for the other, and it's like 215 pounds and 17 pence Yeah, he didn't have to do that according to the law at the time. Now we would have the estate today. We would have the estate pay that, but apparently they didn't do that at that time. So that was a good thing for him to do. It got all those people, all these common people, onto his side. It was a good move. I don't know where it's going to play later, but I think it's going to. So, all right. But then all of a sudden, a monkey wrench is thrown into the works here. Somebody comes walking in, and an Irish woman comes up, and well, it's Lorna Bowe, the one who was on the playbill with the name circled. She's claiming that she was married to James's dad. She calls herself Lorna Delaney Bowe. They were married in Dublin, and so she's like, well, you know what? Some of the stuff is mine too, so I have a claim on it because we're married. So by rights of marriage, before it can go to James, it comes through me. So I mean, this kind of throws him off some. I mean, he has all the diamonds, so he has all that, but he doesn't have that Nootka sound. He doesn't have that because now he has to work with her. So they go back to the lawyer's office, and he starts asking about things like proof of consummation of the marriage. And she's like, well, I have the letters that he wrote, and she quotes one of the letters, and she uses flowery speech, which she's an actress, so of course she knows how to do those things. And so anyway, so there's that. And so they're going to have to send the marriage license that she showed up with, which is an Irish one. We have to send somebody out, dispatch somebody out to Dublin to confirm that she was married. And so after all that, he comes back out, and Atticus is there. Atticus was at the reading of the will because to see if he could find the person who killed his dad, his father. And Atticus says, yes, he was there. The guy that came to me was there, you betcha, and he told you would rue the day. So it's his brother-in-law. His brother-in-law was the one that killed his dad. Oh crud, right? Okay. So they go over to we go back over to, they're having a council meeting at the East India Company, and so they're like, well, this is great that she's there, and they confirmed that that the marriage was solid. It was a legal and binding marriage. So therefore, they know now that they don't just have to deal with James, who's telling them no. They have another avenue, but in order to do this avenue, James has to die, because if he dies, everything falls to her. And if it falls to her, they feel like she's a woman. We can deal with that. Okay. We were we were working with the sister before, and now we'll just have to work with this one, and we'll get that land. So, all right. And real quick, we see James. He goes to a small concert of Beethoven. Beethoven the Sixth, and so he goes to a concert. It seems like, and it's they're doing Beethoven's Sixth Symphony. Now this was in 1814. Was when this is supposed to have happened. The Sixth Symphony, I just looked it up, was written at the end of 1808. Okay, so so there's that's when the Sixth Symphony was initially written. So just a few years before, and so it was pretty contemporary for the time. And then this scene, it kind of confirms what we thought about the relationship between Zilphia and James, and that the ancestral relationship that they had. It kind of pretty much confirmed it. So, but they leave each other with, she's saying, we live in opposite sides of the city. Let's leave it that way. Let's not make contact. And he's like, yeah, but there's a big river in between us. So anyway, so he's walking back. He's followed by somebody, and is an assassin. And the assassin attacks him. He has his knife. He wins and kills the assassin, but he does take a knife to the gullet. And this is going to be pretty darn serious for him. So a knife to the gullet in this day in 1814 was a really horrible wound, and so obviously he's going to live, or we wouldn't. We'd be done in the third episode. But it's probably going to cause him a lot of problems. So anyway, so that is our Taboo episode 2, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm hoping to pare this down a little bit, and I'm pushing half an hour on this one, and I would like to pare it down. I'd like to keep these things a little shorter. But so, what did you think? What do you think of the show? Did you watch the show? Is this sparking your interest in the show? Let me know. Give me some comments down below. All right. If you like what I'm doing here, give me a thumbs up, man. Give me an upvote. Give me a like. Subscribe. Follow me. I've actually just in the past week increased my subscribership a little bit, which is really nice, just because it means that people are liking what I'm doing, and I appreciate that. Anyway, what do you think? Give me comments, and God bless.